Okay, so we're off and running. Welcome everybody to tonight's webinar. Tonight, oops, I'm on the wrong slide, bear with me a moment. As you can see, tonight we're talking about supporting your new team members. And I hope should be good, hopefully, for a couple of different kinds of people. So if you're recruiting yourself, excuse me, if you're trying to team build, obviously it'd be very useful for you. But if you're new in the business, then I hope you get an idea of the sort of support that you might get from your sponsor and your team leaders. And if there are some bits in here that you feel, oh, I'm not sure I'm getting that, then speak to your sponsor, because we're all learning new things all the time. So this is one of a series of 8 webinars that I run. You can see there's number 5, supporting your new team members. The first 3 I do are mainly about getting started at the retail side of the business. Then 4 and 5 are about the sponsoring side and building a team, building your residual income. And then 6, 7 and 8 are, I would say, they're kind of those intangible skills. Once you've learned how to put a catalogue out, how to place an order, how to post something in a Facebook group, how to recruit somebody and support them, what else do you need to be really successful? So a lot of personal development stuff over the next 3 weeks as well. But tonight we're focusing on how to support new people in your team. And this is basically what I'm going to be covering. So starting off about setting their expectations. This is really important, because when new starters come, they've got lots of hope, lots of ambition, but not really sure what to expect. So it's really important that we help them with that. I'm going to talk about something that I feel is very, very important, and that is a getting started appointment with them. A bit about anticipating the early kind of problems that may happen, helping them to keep on track. The work that you do, if you're a sponsor and you're bringing somebody new into the team, then this isn't just a case of bringing them in and say good luck and off they go. You have to do some work for them as well. So I'm going to explain a bit about that, a bit about the importance of recognizing their progress. Dave just did a teeny weeny bit of recognition there, recognizing Emma for hitting their 10%. So well done, Dave, for doing that. Well done, Emma, for hitting that goal. And then the last thing, another really important part of the business, is promoting events. Events are like the glue that stick the business together and everything. And the more of your team members that join you at events, the more successful you will be. So I'm going to talk about the importance of that as well. So last week we talked about the process by which you can find new team members, generating some leads, speaking to them, showing them, presenting the business to them, and signing them up. But once they've signed up, that's where the work really starts. This is where your business gets really exciting. And as I said there, it's also where the hard work begins for you. And it's fair enough to say, I think, that your success in Kleeneze will be in direct proportion to the amount of frustration you can deal with. Now, even if at the moment you're just delivering catalogues, there are frustrations out there. You will have people that forget to put their catalogues out. Today's a good example. You will have catalogues that you pick up that are soaking wet. There's all sorts of challenges that you have to overcome, and that's no different to any other business. If you're successful, you'll be the person that can overcome those frustrations and those challenges. And it's exactly the same with new team members who come there. They will often need lots of help and support, and you might find it frustrating at times. But the success in your business will be how much help and support you give to your new team members, and even those that maybe that are not as ambitious as you in a business. Because the main thing to remember is, actually, you don't need hundreds and hundreds of people in your team to be very, very wealthy. All you need are 5 serious people, because those people will themselves want to start building their own teams. And that's where your kind of duplication and your residual income will come from. Now, when somebody signs up, the aftercare and the support that you give them is the biggest impact that you can have on the success of your new team member. Now, what you do have to understand is that although it's the biggest impact you can have, by far the biggest impact on their own success is themselves. If you get somebody who joins and they've got a great work ethic, and they just get out there and they do it and they work really hard, sounds like Emma and Andrew have done exactly that, then they will be successful. And there are lots of examples of people who have been very successful despite having a very unsupportive sponsor, or a sponsor who's not really doing very much in the business and just ticking over. So you can be really, really successful without a great sponsor. But if you are a sponsor, then you should try to make sure that you are a great sponsor and give them lots of help and support. Because between the two of you, if you're a great sponsor and you can give them lots of help and support, and you find somebody who's enthusiastic and has a good work ethic, then boy, you've got something exciting going on there. So, but what you do need to understand is that not all distributors will join the business and stay and go on to be successful. Many of them will leave. And all you can do is just say, did I do everything that I could have done to support them? If you just kind of bring them in the business and then just ignore them and let them get on with it, then actually that's your own fault if they leave. But if you're trying to support them following some of the things that I'm going to show you this evening, and you've done all of that, and they still leave, well then that's fine. It just obviously wasn't right for them at this time. And probably the biggest single thing I could say is keep in touch with your new distributors. Constant communication keeps people inspired. And you should try and contact them, but you should also encourage them to contact you. And what you'll find is your leaders amongst your new starters will be the ones who are contacting you regularly. And they're contacting you because they're enthusiastic, they're curious, they're wanting to know what's next, they're wanting to tell you how excited they are about their first order, or whatever it might be. So you will find that the best distributors in your new team are the ones who will contact you. Now, as I said at the beginning, when people first join, they often don't really know what to expect. So it's a good idea to set their expectations before they even sign up. And I think this is really, really important. If you saying to them, just before you kind of go through the sign-up process and part with your hard-earned £25 or £99 or whatever kit they're going for, I always say to them, what I recommend you do is explain your role as their sponsor. I say to them, my job is to help you get whatever you want out of this, and I do this in a variety of different ways with the webinars and so on. And I guarantee that I will give them 100% help and support to help them achieve whatever their goals are. But in return for that, I actually need them to commit something as well. And that is, they need to be able to commit to put the time in. If you've got somebody who joins and then says, oh, well, actually, I've only got a couple of hours on a Saturday morning, then they're going to really struggle to get very much out of it. So they need to commit to be able to put in at least 10 to 15 hours a week. They need to commit to keeping in touch with you. If it's always you that's chasing them and trying to get in touch with them and help them and ask if they've got any problems, then it's going to be a very one-sided thing, and this works best as a partnership. So if they promise, they commit to keeping in touch with you, then that might just be a text message or a Facebook message or something like that. That's fine, and they're going to be far more successful. And they also need to commit to learning the system. And that the system itself may vary depending on which team you're in and whether you're following the 10-step system and so on. But obviously you know which system you follow, and that's the system that your team members should follow. So if you've got training videos and guides for them, if you're encouraging them to join these weekly webinars, if you go to monthly workshops, then say to your new team member before they even sign up, if you do this, you will have a far better chance of being successful. And ask them, are you prepared to do that? Now I know that for myself, that's a little bit scary because you don't really want to scare somebody off. But actually, I find that you're much more likely to get successful people in your business if they know what they're going to do before they even sign up and hand their money over to you. Okay, so once they've been through that, and they said, yeah, they're happy to keep in touch, they really want to get involved with the training so they can be successful in this business. Once they've signed up, the next important thing is to do what I call a getting started appointment. And this can just be a call. It doesn't have to be face-to-face, because obviously you can recruit people from all over the country and soon, hopefully, all over the world. But certainly within 24 hours of them getting started, you should have a little chat with them. And that can be face-to-face if they're local, or via Skype. I do recommend, and I do find that this has helped me a lot, using some kind of video calling tool like Skype or Zoom, or there's a number of different ones. You can do Facebook calling and all sorts of things. That kind of face-to-face contact at the beginning is really, really useful. And while you're doing that, just take your time. The main purpose of this call is to build a bit of rapport, get to know what are their needs, why did they join Kleeneze, what are they looking for, what are their goals. Because as a sponsor, the biggest thing that you can do to help them get off to a great start is to understand what their goals are and help them achieve their first goal. If part of their goal is to get themselves to earn 250 quid in their first full period, so get themselves to the 10% bonus level, for example, then you need to work closely with them to make sure that they know exactly what they need to do to achieve that. That's always also a good opportunity to go through a little introduction with them on the retail side of the business, either the Facebook side or the catalogue side, if they're depending on what they're looking to do, or maybe a bit of both. And also a bit more of an introduction to the training then. So you can then start to talk to them about the weekly webinars on a Wednesday night, or if you do other webinars within your team, the local events that they can go to, either opportunity meetings or the 10 steps meetings or whatever other meetings you've got. Introduce it to them at this point. Every time you speak to a new prospect, that is an opportunity for you to promote an event. And if you can get people to the events, this is just an absolute must in your business. If you can get people to events, they will be successful. And it just makes such a massive difference in inspiring people and giving them the information. And these webinars are events, so getting your new people onto these webinars as well is a great start. Okay, so the next thing to do, so you've been through that getting started call, so hopefully they then know what to do with their catalogues when they arrive online, if they're going to do the Facebook side as well. So they kind of know what to do and they're all enthusiastic and excited and off and running. But there are a couple of things that would be worth going through with them just to make sure that you cut out any kind of obvious mistakes. So one little thing, for example, make sure they send their photo in for an ID card. Now you can do that at the end of the sign-up process if they've got one on their computer or their laptop at that point, or they can email it in, or they can post it in. But if they don't do it within their first 28 days, then the help desk can put their account on stop. And the last thing you want is if they're coming towards the end of a period and getting towards getting a bonus, and suddenly their account's on stop and they've got to faff about getting a photo off in a rush. So just make sure you do that within the first couple of weeks, and then that gives you plenty of time to get that sorted out. And there's a little phrase we use, which is inoculate them against failure. And that's just understanding that, if you're doing the catalogue side of the business, we're in the United Kingdom, it does rain. If you're only going to go out on sunny days, you're probably going to be going out a third of the time that you could be. So it does rain. You do sometimes get quiet pickups as well as the good pickups. You do get grumpy so-and-sos who don't want to catalogue again. Even if you're on Facebook, you get people commenting saying, oh, you can get this cheaper down the pound shop. So just prepare people for that so that when it does happen, and it will, they're not unsurprised. They just say, oh yeah, Chris told me about that, so yeah, I know what to do in that situation. Make sure they've got contact numbers of people that they can get in touch with if they need some help. So obviously yours, but you may not be available all the time. So if you kind of buddy them up on Facebook with some other people in the team, give them the names and numbers of your upline, so who your sponsor is as well, so they can contact that person. So just make sure they know, basically, if they can't get hold of you, who can they go to for help? And obviously the help desk, telephone number of the help desk is a great thing to do. And the other thing to do is just making sure again that you're aware of when the next meeting is to them and ask them if they're coming to it. Now, one thing that I've changed in the way I do this, and I think this is really, really helpful for me, so hopefully for you too, is you need to understand what the difference is between you promoting an event and just announcing an event. Well, actually, can I just check everybody? I'm just pausing for a moment. I noticed Joe's just commented on there that she's lost the sound. Can everybody else hear me okay? Or has everybody lost the sound? Okay. Sound just for everybody else. Okay, thanks guys. Hopefully it's just, well, not hopefully it's Joe, but hopefully Joe can kind of log off and log on again and get back into it. So sorry, yes. So the difference between a promoter and an announcer. If you're announcing a meeting, and that could just be sending an email out to everybody or a text message saying, hey guys, don't forget we've got the Birmingham Showcase coming up in a couple of weeks. Okay, which is fine. You've told people that there is one, but they maybe have no idea how valuable that would be to them. A promoter is somebody who speaks to them, face to face or on the phone, and says, look, I've just noticed that in a couple of weeks we've got such and such a meeting coming up. These meetings are absolutely fantastic. The first time I went to one of these, it completely transformed my business. You will find them so useful. And I know it's on a Saturday afternoon, and I know you're not driving, but you can get the train up there. I can meet you at the station, pick you up there, and take you to the venue. So a promoter is somebody who explains the value of the event, helps them to get to the event, and that might be helping to arrange transport, or maybe just suggesting if there's a youngster that they think, oh, I haven't got childcare, then helping them to maybe find childcare. Is there somebody else who can help, or a friend that maybe if they looked after their son or daughter this weekend, could they have their daughter the following weekend or something? So try to help them solve the problems of why they can't get to events, because initially you've got no idea when you first join how valuable the events are. So you might be thinking, oh, you know what, Saturday afternoon I'd rather be watching the football. Well, maybe not, but you know what I mean. Whereas actually coming to this can completely transform your business and transform your income. So the other thing to do is just explaining the steps about building a customer base. So you will have good days and bad days when you pick up lots of orders, other days when you kind of don't pick up many orders. Oh, great. Thanks, Joe. Glad you managed to get back on okay. So explaining to them about the value of having a customer base and the fact that it doesn't happen overnight. You've got to build towards it. And just talk to them regularly when their kit first arrive, after they've first put their catalogues out, or the first time they've posted things on Facebook, the first time they've picked their catalogues up, when they're placing their first order. The importance of speaking to somebody every day just means it's all part of building up that rapport so that they get to know you and like you and trust you. Because then if they do come across a bit of a problem, if they've been speaking to you every day, they know that it's okay to call you and just explain, oh, I'm not quite sure what to do about this. If you never call them and they think, oh, well, maybe they're really, really busy, I won't pester him with it, and so they don't call you, and suddenly that tiny issue that could have been fixed in 10 seconds starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger in their mind, and a week later when you eventually call them, they're on the verge of giving up because they've got this massive problem, which is somebody forgot to put a catalogue out. And for them it just seemed like a huge problem at the time. So talking to them regularly is really, really important. Okay, a few other things just to be aware of. If you've got a team member who joins on one of the instalment kits, so they pay £25 and then get the catalogues all at the beginning, then make sure they're aware of the dates when the next instalments are due. Because if they miss a payment, then, or rather, and it's the way it works is, if you're not familiar, head office will take the payment from the same card that they used when they made when they signed up. So if there isn't any money in that account and the payment fails, then their account gets put on hold and they can't place another order until they sort it out. And if that's again just before a weekend, or and they can't call the help desk to get it sorted out until the Monday, and then they try and put their order in later on that day, and suddenly it could be 2 or 3 days later, and it's starting to feel like a big problem to them. So just make sure that they know when the instalments are. A couple of days before it's due, just give them a quick bell to make sure they're aware of all of that. Now, there's a couple of other things. And the next stage I want to talk to you about now is the fact that it's really important that when you have somebody new start, you don't just think that they're working for themselves with a bit of help from you. You actually need to spend some time working for them. And so, as an example, if they're retailing on Facebook, a great thing for you to do is to join groups in their area. Obviously, if they're local to you and you're already in lots of groups, that's brilliant. But they could be the other side of the country. So join some groups in their area, and then you can add them to those groups if they haven't yet joined themselves. You can promote their selling group, so once their selling group's in place, you can go into a local group. And I just put a little comment on saying something like, oh, hey everybody, my friend Sue has just started a brand new online shop for the, whatever, Grimsby area. And they've got loads of fantastic things for the home, kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, loads of other stuff. Come and have a little look at, and then you can put a link into their group. And that way, they'll get people joining their group, even if they haven't joined those external groups themselves yet. And the other thing is, it's really important to think of their first 30 days as a bit like a race. Now, I always used to say, when people first join, this is your business. You can do it at your own speed. If you want to earn a little or a lot, it's up to you. And that's true. But the first 30 days are so important for so many different reasons. Obviously, getting the free catalogues as part of the welcome rewards is really, really important. And you only get that opportunity in your first 30 days and obviously the 60 days for the second lot. Getting their first order, getting their first bonuses, getting their first profit, so exciting. If they don't do all of that for 2, 3, 4 weeks because they've just been taking their time over it, by the time they get their first order in, they've lost all of that initial enthusiasm and excitement, and they're kind of thinking, well, this is okay, but I've been doing it a month and I've only made £10 profit out of it. So you have to consider it a race to help them and to get them going as quickly as you can. And you have to explain to them the importance of getting up to speed really, really quickly. Say to them, you need to work harder in these first 30 days than you want to. Because if you do, you'll feel so excited about it, having made your first bonuses, your first profit, qualified for these free gifts and so on, that you will then absolutely fly. Now, recognition, this is a really big part of our business that at the local meetings we often talk about. For most people, the only time they get recognised is if they're in the police lineup, or if they're at work, they get recognised whenever they do a bad job, but never when they do a good job. Whereas in this business, recognition is fantastic. It's a really great way to recognise the hard work that people are putting in when they're just starting a new business. And I love the ability to do this just on something like Facebook. Facebook is just a really simple and effective way to congratulate your new team member. So if you've got a little kind of support group with your team members in, when they first join, just welcome them to the team. Tag them on the welcome message, put a little picture up, and then the rest of the team can just sort of say, oh, hi Joe, welcome to the team, whatever it might be. So a little thing like that takes 2 minutes. Again, when they put their first order in, just great job, congratulations Joe on putting your first order in. And when they hit their first kind of bonuses, they got their first order, they've made some money, congratulations, you've now got a profitable business. You already earned over £25. It only cost you £25 to get started. You've got a profitable business, and it's taken you less than a fortnight or something, whatever like that. And all those little things, people really feel pleased that they've achieved something. And it's not just for themselves, they've achieved things, and other people in the team are congratulating them as well. So it's a kind of a culture within your team that you need to encourage everybody to support everybody else. Because obviously then when you start to get team members in, those other people in your team who maybe cross line from you, and they will congratulate your team members as well and make them feel great about themselves. Okay, so keeping track. When a new starter joins, it's important that you understand from them how much they're looking to earn at the beginning. Because some people will come in just looking for an extra £50 a week, other people are looking for £1,000 a month, and depending on how much time they're able to put into it, you need to work out with them, is it realistic? If you've got somebody who's just lost their job, they need £1,000 a month to cover their rent, but they've only got a couple of hours on a Saturday morning, they're just not being realistic about it. But once you've worked out what they're looking for and how much time they've got, then you can say to them, okay, so in order to achieve that, you need to be doing this many catalogues. Putting your catalogues out at least once a week or twice a week or even more if you can. Posting on Facebook every day is a great way to start. Supplement those orders from your catalogues, or obviously it's essential if the Facebook side of the business is the main reason that you joined. and you need to keep track of what their orders are. So make sure you check your PSG every day so you can see if team members are putting orders in, and make sure you understand and you explain to them how the bonuses work. So here we are today, it's Wednesday. Tomorrow, Thursday, is the last day of the period. Now if you've got somebody who's really close to getting a bonus, and they only need a little £50 dropship order or something, and that would give them their 10% bonus, it's really worth their while to spend a bit of time, just put a few catalogues out tonight to pick up tomorrow or something, or post a few things on Facebook tonight just to try and get a few more orders, because that extra bonus is worth a lot to them, both in financially and obviously just a recognition of achieving it. Equally, if you've got somebody who's kind of just started and they're not likely to hit the bonus the first time around, you might suggest to them they might want to just hang on to their order till Friday morning, because if they put it through on Friday morning, that'll give them a great start to the next bonus period. So just make sure between the two of you, you're kind of working out the best way for them to do that, and the best time for them to put in an order, and just making sure that help them to set their first goals and achieve them. So their first goals might be, I've called it the 30-day challenge, but you know what I mean, the welcome rewards, where you get 50 free catalogues with your first £150 worth of orders, and then another 100 catalogues after that, their 10% bonus, and so on. Making sure they're aware of what they need to do to achieve those goals and keeping track of it, so you can say, oh, that's fantastic, you only need another £150 to do that, you've got a week to go. So just encouraging them so they know exactly what they're aiming for. Now I've talked about this before, and I'm not excusing, I'm not apologising for covering it several times. This is such an important part of the business. Every time you're speaking to somebody, you should be thinking about, this is an opportunity for me to promote the next event. So firstly, obviously, if you're promoting the event as being really, really important, you need to go to the events themselves. So obviously the webinars here, so you guys are already on here, so I'm preaching to the converted there. Your local workshops, your local opportunity meetings, the big showcases, the different regional meetings. Get to as many of them as you can, not only for yourself, but that's just a fantastic opportunity for a new team member to go along and be inspired. And if you get an inspired team member, this is just so exciting when this happens. And by going yourself, it shows to your team members that they are important and they're valuable. And team members will listen to you. And as I've said, promote the event. Don't just announce them and expect people to find their own way there or to let you know if they're interested, because most people don't realise the value of them, so they won't go. But if you promote them, and as I said earlier, help them to solve problems. Do they need picking up from a railway station? Do they need to car share, maybe, if you've got somebody else in that area who might be coming up? Do they need just some help to try and work out how to find some childcare for them if they need to do it? And a little phrase which I've heard quite a lot, which I think is really, really important, is you should be the leader you seek. And what I mean by that is, if you're not going to the events and your team members are looking for you for inspiration and leadership, they're going to copy what you do. So you need to be the leader. And if you're thinking, well, but my sponsor never took me to events, or they never went, well, that's fine, but don't blame your sponsor for your lack of action. You need to kind of take responsibility and be the leader yourself. Okay guys, I'm pretty much wrapped up now. A couple of things just to make sure you're all still awake. Can you remember at the beginning, what areas did I say you would ask a new starter to commit to? Does anyone remember that? Seems a long time ago now, half an hour ago I asked that. Yep, thank you Natalie. They need to commit to putting some time into it. As I said, 10 to 15 hours. Thank you Simon, contacting you regularly. It's a good one. Yes Joe, good. Anyone remember the third one I mentioned? Ooh, a bit of a tricky one here. Bonus prize if anyone can remember it. Simon, well done mate, you get top prize. So yeah, 10 to 15 hours minimum a week, communicating with your sponsor and learning the system, attending the training effectively, Simon, that's right. Yeah, Mary, effectively the training. That's it. Well done, guys. I have another question. I can't remember if I had now. Okay. I've talked about this several times. What did I say about the two different ways that you can inform a new starter about an event? One way which I said was much better than the other. Can you remember the two ways I mentioned? Natalie, well done. You're on the ball. Well done, Simon. Fantastic, guys. In the words of Jim Rohn, you guys are such a great audience, I'm going to take you with me next time. You'll be my travelling audience. Okay, I think that's it. So, just to reiterate what we covered, setting their expectations before they even sign up, I find is really, really great way to get people in the right mindset. Doing that getting started appointment with them within 24 hours is really, really good. Anticipating early problems that might just help them overcome things if they're expecting, they know what to expect. Help them to keep track, especially when it comes to bonuses and kind of the welcome rewards and so on. Make sure that you go to work for them. And just a little simple example there is on Facebook. Join groups in their area, and you can promote. If they're adding products to there, you can bump their pictures up and bump their competitions up and things if you're in the same groups as them. Recognize their progress. Just a little kind of well done for putting your first order in. Congratulations for hitting your first goal, whatever it might be, and promoting the events. Okay, guys, I think we're pretty much finished for this evening. I'm just going to turn off the recording.